Hello once again, everyone. Welcome back to the continuation of the OBA educational video series. Now, again, these aren't going to be a common thing. Maybe once in a blue moon I'll do this type of thing again if a situation like this comes up. But this is part two. Welcome, and we will be continuing along with going over again what makes me me, what makes my personality, what it is. So, in this one, we'll probably be going over romantic relationships, which I probably won't take too long on this one, and friendships. So let's move on to the juicy stuff, romantic relationships. So, when it comes to romantic relationships, people with my personality have an interesting mixture of traits that often pleasantly surprise their partners. People with this personality type are always full of ideas, but they have few opportunities to explore their more romantic notions. As with any of their theories, these people, or people like me, love sharing with others, and in finally meeting someone where romantic thoughts are appropriate, they show themselves to be excited, enthusiastic, and even playful, flirting with wordplay and intellectual games. So again, I'm kind of like the Riddler, I guess, flirting with wordplay. Is that what he does? It doesn't seem like it. Either way, none of this is to say that these relationships come easily to people like me, or people with my personality. They are shy and withdrawn individuals. Indeed, we are. And getting out and meeting new people, risking rejection, and making themselves the center of attention is emotionally delicate. Or in emotionally delicate situations, are far bigger, or man, I can't speak, are far from being their strengths. 100% agree. That is not my cup of tea. It is more likely that people with these personalities will leave a trail of breadcrumbs for a potential partner, allowing them to make the first move and committing to their partner as an act of reciprocation rather than bravado. Yeah, if there's one thing I've said I'm not, or I've never said I am, I should say, is bravado. I do not care for bravado. I do not claim to have it. Let's not even touch that. But I'm definitely the type to leave, a trail of breadcrumbs for someone to try and figure out and unscramble. That's definitely right up my alley. So, Mary, a good wife makes happiness, a bad one, philosophy. Whatever that fucking means. From the start, people with my personality take their relationships seriously. Their imagination and vision, and the challenge of getting to know new people, make them all too aware of how important it is that they are involved with someone, and they will prove themselves surprisingly loyal. Yeah, I would say I am pretty loyal. I'm not really the type to stab you in the back unless, we're playing a game and then I can't help it. I like being the bad guy and stabbing you in the back. But, yeah, in real life, unless I'm purposely trying to get revenge on someone who fucked me over or whatever, I'm gonna be loyal. Uh, Even early in the dating phase, people with my personality are unusually direct and honest, doing their best to express their mindset and create mutual understanding, believing that this shared knowledge will help to minimize misunderstandings and avoid conflict. Now, you could say that a lot of guys in relationships always try to say very little because they don't want to piss off the female. And then that in turn makes the female think the guy doesn't either care about her or doesn't find her interesting or something, and then she gets mad anyway. um, but it's, at least for people with my personality, again, it redirects back to the earlier point from the first video. We do not intentionally try to hurt people's feelings. We just want to minimize the chances of there being misunderstandings and avoiding conflict, which is a good thing. Do not try and nitpick this. Do not try and make a big deal about this. Do not try and make it seem like, you know, um, I don't know, that that it's a problem when there's no problem. Anyway, let's move on. As their relationships progress, people with this personality daily needs to prove remarkably simple. Or wait, what? Uh, as the relationship progresses, Daily needs prove remarkably simple. Oh, okay. Gifts, surprises, complex social plans, and date nights are all fairly unimportant to people with this personality type. I agree, 100%. If someone's like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I'll be like, "I don't fucking care. I don't know." I mean, if they say an idea I don't care for, then I'll probably be like, "No, I don't want to do that." But if you're asking me what I want to do, it's unimportant. I don't care. I probably have the mindset where, it's like, say I had a girlfriend, more than likely I'd be like, I don't care what we do as long as, you know, I'm with you. That might sound like, oh, or something like that cheesy, like a Hallmark card. But if I ever got a girlfriend, it would be, how do I just say it? I find you into, what's the word? On the same intelligence level as myself. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm in, skyscraper high. I'm just saying, like, later on it gets into the point where, we like to be challenged intellectually. So, anyway, if I were to, um, what's the word? I totally lost my train of thought here. Good God. Let's just reread this a bit. Fairly unimportant. Right, 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 right. So if I'm choosing to even have you as a girlfriend, that should be significant to show you that I'm actually, you know, investing in you, interested in you. I'm not interested in, you know, doing random things that, quote, couples do. It's like, I don't need to do that shit. I don't need to spend money and, go out and do things to have a good time. You know, being in company with someone that you get along with is rewarding itself. So, I don't want to dwell on this too much. Let's continue. Um, where were we here? Uh, but this is also one of their chiefest weaknesses. That's a weird phrase, chiefest. Their partner may very much need things, and it won't even occur to people with my personality to plan them out. For all their analysis and attempts at mutual understandings, people with my personality are notoriously bad at picking up on others' emotional needs. And agree, 100%, but at the same time, you could say, a lot of guys are oblivious to this type of thing. I'm not going to say every guy, but it seems like the majority are. It's just, I don't know, it's part of guys' DNA. It really is. But with people with this personality like me, it's notoriously bad uh, because the emotional side is just, it's weaker to us. Like when with my actual results on the test, it was like emotional was 48%, and it was like 52% was I forget what the label was, but it was like overpowering my emotional side. So it's like my emotional side is there, but it's not as dominant. It's not limited, but it's just not as strong. It's not as big of a strength to me. It's more of a lacking thereof. So don't get mad at a guy if he doesn't pick up on emotional needs. That's just par for the course. Let's move on here. When it comes to conflict, there is certain willingful ignorance for my types, and they often set aside their partner's feelings and their own for far too long. I don't really have personal experience with this one, but I will say that in conflict, I do tend to, like outside of YouTube, in personal life, I do find that I put my feelings to the side and then I analyze the situation and then try and come up with a way to, you know, either avoid the same conflict in the future or to diffuse it or just to forget about it or something along those lines. So, when these conflicts do arise and are inescapable, that's a good word there, inescapable. What could that be as an example? I'll give you one. Say you are at a job and there's a certain person that you just don't get along with. Like they just do something to drive you mad. Maybe they just nitpick at you all day. Maybe they insult you. They bully you. Whatever. You know, Or maybe even a better example, you're a kid in school and there's a kid bullying you, and it's every day at recess they're bullying you, and it's inescapable. Or at least, until you tell a teacher or whatever, or punch the kid in the face. But anyway, people with my personality will do their best to find a logical solution. See, for me, everyone was bullied. We'll go back to the bullying thing because it makes sense. Everyone was bullied pretty much in school. Maybe if you're a lucky kid, you're not. Maybe you were the bully. Who knows? But a vast majority of people were bullied. What I did, I thought about it. And again, I was a lot younger then. I was like, what was I? Elementary school ish. And so, what I came up with, and it sounds incredibly fucking simple, and it really truly is, again, I've said this before, to have a not give a fuck attitude. If someone insults you, if that's the bullying's, playbook, if their whole game plan is verbal abuse, whether it's like insulting you or, calling you fat or, stupid or whatever it is, don't let it bother you. Literally, mentally choose, if you're capable of it, literally just tell yourself, wow, this guy just feels like wanting to insult me. Okay, go for it. And then try and encourage him a bit. Be like, if he says the same insult twice in a row, be a smartass about it. Be like, huh, I guess that's the limit of your vocabulary. Why don't try and improve upon your own insults. Maybe next time amp it up a bit. Try and get your vocabulary up. And then he might get upset at you because you're calling him stupid or repetitive or generic or something. Or what you can do is, what I would do is I would just look at them if they insulted me, smirk, like smile, maybe do a, like a wink at them, point the finger at them, and then just carry on. Like, just literally don't let it bother you. It's as simple as that. If you don't get mad over just a word, treat it like that. It's literally, why get mad over a word? It's letters of the alphabet. It's a sound coming from their voice box. There's literally no reason to get mad at that. Now, I mean, granted, someone could say something about, like, oh, your family sucks, or, like, if, say, you're a parent and someone insults your kid, that's a little bit different. But if you're being the target, just don't be a fucking, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but just, be better than it. Just simply don't care. Just laugh it off, smile at them, continue on their way. Eventually, a bully will get bored with you. Anyway, this was not a anti-bullying video. Let's continue on. Where were we here? But this hardly helps if the problem is logic itself. The people with these personalities, our personalities, aren't meeting their partner's emotional needs. People with my personality should keep this in mind and try to meet their partners halfway by communicating on an emotional level. If they make this effort, understanding partners will recognize and appreciate this gesture. Clumsy though it may be, after all, they need to afford people with my personalities the same benefit, and meet them halfway with logic and simplicity as well. This isn't as easy as the bullying example, because what this is saying is, people with my personality, we would have to, really take a step back, try and not analyze a situation, resort to a part of ourselves that we know is weak, that we know is not as strong as our analytical abilities, and really try and approach a situation in a way we aren't comfortable with. But on the flip side, for example, a girlfriend, if she, like, this is the emotional side, she might be the complete opposite with me, and her emotional side is the more dominant side than the analytical side. So she would have to bring her intellect, or her, that's saying she's stupid, her analytic skills, like, she has to try to be the one to analyze the situation to see where I was coming from in my side. And this isn't always going to work. But the key thing is, you should try. So let's move on. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. All this material, oh crap, these are fancy words that sometimes I don't even pronounce. How do you pronounce this? Asceticism? I don't know. And conflict avoidance support one primary goal: to free up mental resource for more important things. And that's a key thing. more important things. You don't need to fill your head with pointless jibber jabber like, following in all the gossip of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt or Britney Spears or Justin Bieber. You don't need that in your head. You can if you really give a shit, but for people like us who don't, we don't need that clogging up our brain. Um, so our creative, vivid imagination makes for a surprisingly enthusiastic, passionate, and romantic partner. You hear that, ladies? Sorry, that was a joke. While people with our personalities may prioritize their inner world too much, imagining interesting and exciting intimate situations that are never expressed to their partners, they also use this rich inner world to achieve as much possible in intimacy. They rarely want for ideas. Physically, intellectually, and with a little effort emotionally, people with my personalities, relationships are rich and rewarding connections. Partners who share the intuitive trait are usually best, along with one or two opposite traits to create variety and balance. But so long as people with my personalities remember that they are with people who have their own independent wants and needs, and so long as their partners remember the same of their, people like us, these are long lasting and satisfying relationships. So, one little sum up of this part is, even though we're analytical, I mean, technically our, you know, analyst skills would automatically tell us, yep, they're a bit different than us, or yeah, they have a few common things with us. It's basically saying, you gotta still realize that the person you're with is their own person. See, now I'm not the type of person who tries to change people unless it's something, like they have a bad habit. I'll give you a quick example. For example, in high school, in grade 12, I had a friend who his uh, childhood or early teens or whatever wasn't exactly the smoothest or the most, greatest conditions for him. I'm not going to, name names or anything, but he smoked and drank when he was like 13 years old, and all the way till high school. So that's like 7 years or 6 years. What is that? 5 years? Yeah, about 5 years or so. Which doesn't seem too bad. You don't think, but and so it was like he was a really nice guy. Like we got along great. He got along with all my friends. He became part of our group, and we all got along and liked each other. Um, but he had a habit of showing up at school with his coffee cup, and the teachers would think it was just coffee, but it was half coffee, half some kind of alcohol. I can't remember what it was. Now, in grade 12, teachers are more lenient. You're an adult. As long as you are not completely wasted or something, then they don't really honestly give a shit. Um, but anyway, with maybe it was just us being a positive what's the word, giving him a positive rub, I guess, like rub off from our group to him, or just hanging out with us. But over the year that we knew him, or that we were buds with him, by the end of it, he wasn't smoking anymore, and he gave up drinking. And that was after 5 years. Now, I'm not saying, like, if someone's, talks with me and they drink, I'm going to be like, you should give up alcohol. No. If you drink responsibly and it's not a problem that has affected your life, then you know what? It's your choice. Now, as for the smoking thing, I mean, I really wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone, a girl who smokes. That's such a big turnoff for me. I personally would be like, they ask the question like, oh, if there's one thing you could change about your partner, what would it be? I would be like smoking. Like, I would not demand that they quit, but I'd be like, have you tried quitting? Like, I personally, I really like you, but don't, I don't want to kiss a smoker. So, anyway, I think that's enough personal excuses. We're getting a little personal here. So let's move on to friendships. Okay. So many of the usual motivations for making friends, emotional support, social validation, shared routine, simply do not apply to our kind, our people with our personality. More likely, these concepts are met with disdain, as people with these personality types, or ours, prize intellectual depth above all else. This is what I was talking about before. It is not easy to become good friends with people like us, but if there is a common interest and a common train of thought, the connection is likely to spark instantly, surprising everyone else who thought they had this distant personality typed pegged. Now, I'm going to give you another example. Again, I'm not going to mention names. The certain individual will know who he is. A person that I met, we became friends super fucking quick. Why? Because we had, where was it here? Common train of thought, common interest. And you know what those were? Being fans of Batman and video games. It was as simple as that. Just poof, friends. Simple as that. So let's move on. Be slow to fall into friendships. So people with my personalities, friendships are knowledge based, which, honestly, I never actually, even though I'm, supposedly analytical, I never really gave it much thought. I was just like, I know I like hanging out with people and talking with them about things that we have in common. I always thought that was, common for everyone, but I never really thought of it as an intellectual thing until reading this. But it makes sense. So, it makes sense that my friendships, at least in some degree, are knowledge based. So, defined by the exchange of ideas, theories, and concepts, which anyone who knows me, like as a friend in real life, all the time, or even like in my OBA discussion with a friend video, that's such a typical thing with me and my friends. We talk, it's a lot about gaming and stuff, but it's always about our theories, our ideas, our concepts, our possibilities, that type of thing, and that's an intelligent conversation. So, where was I here? Uh, And those who aren't able to keep up with this, or who have sharply differing taste, don't talk to people like us about celebrities. It's saying it's like a joke. So that's kind of like what I said before, where about keeping useless crap out of our head. If you're all about, oh, did you hear about, uh, I don't know, some Donald Trump thing or some random celebrity thing, I don't care. Most of our kind don't care. We have better things to do than to care about that. Now, if you want to talk about a celebrity that we actually, respect or care about, say Robin Williams, or like I like Jack Sparrow, or Johnny Depp, I should say, or Jackie Chan, then there's something there. But if you're talking about some celebrity like fucking Kim Kardashian, then keep the train moving, man. I don't want to get on. But anyway, so the people who aren't able to keep up with this kind of intellectual conversation, or who have a sharply differing taste, they will find stony faces that border on rude. So what that means is, they'll be, chirp, 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 chirping away, trying to have a conversation with us. We will stare at them with a blank face that they can literally, like, they're not an idiot. They can tell that this guy gives no fucks. And they're going to find that rude. But again, back to the original thing. We don't mean to be rude on purpose. We are not intentionally trying to hurt your feelings. You literally just, your personality does not mesh with ours. And again, here's like a board, it's kind of way off topic here and a shot way out of left field. But this is a good thing to say to prove that the whole idea of world peace is an illusion. It can't happen. Because different personalities simply do not mesh. And never will. But anyway, let's get this back on track here. So, you might think we're being rude by, like, just giving you like a, can't believe this guy's still talking face. But you can't blame us. We don't, if we don't care about something, you can't get mad at us for not liking something that you do. That's just unrealistic. But anyway, let's continue. To people with my personality, communication is often more of a nuisance than a pleasure. And conversation is reserved for topics that they find meaningful, or for people they already like enough to stick it out with. So again, what we've been talking about. We don't care for the idle chit chat. We don't care about, oh, the weather's nice, or, oh, did you see that hockey game last night? Don't care, don't care, don't care. Unless that person actually, that person with my personality specifically cares for, say, a sports team or something. But just in general, we it might make us sound incredibly selfish, but theoretically anyone should be like this. We only like talking about subjects that we like. It's simple and it seems so logical, but not a lot of people do it. They can't come to terms with the fact that not everyone is going to like the same things as they do. But I mean, this educational series is getting pretty fucking deep here. I'm getting deep in my own mind and getting lost again. But anyway, um, and then for like people, you know, to stick it out, that would be, the people you get along with. Like you click and you could just talk, and you could think like, oh, we only talked for 5 minutes, and you look at your watch and holy shit, we talked for 2 hours. But either way, unless there's a natural affinity for this intellectual style, few have the patience to try to penetrate their shields. And people with my personality, that's what this means, remember, are left with a naturally small circle of good friends. Very true. I have friends who have, I don't know, 20 plus friends. Like, close friends that they rotate hanging out with, go to parties with, whatever. I've had friends in the past, and I don't know, I've never really said whether I would consider this to be, true quote friends, but the people on Facebook that you have, and they have like over 1,000 plus people on Facebook as their quote friends, and it's like their friends and their friends' friends and their friends' friends and their cousins' friends and their cousins' friends' uncle and all that stuff. It's like, are they really all your friends in quotes I use? I don't count that. So definitely for me, I do have a very small, almost exclusive, uh, real life friend pool. And it's not that, how do I say this? Like, I'm content with that. I like it. I would rather have, a half a dozen, like six really good friends who, on an intellectual level, we get along, we chat, we can talk and talk and talk and talk about anything that any part of our lives that are interlockable or whatever, and it works. Then, say, have 50 friends who are just like, oh, when was the last time I saw that guy? Oh, maybe, oh, it's probably been a year now. I wonder what he's up to. I don't care for that. That's, no offense, but that's an empty friendship. If you don't, make the effort to acknowledge that you have a connection to your friends, are you really friends? You're more acquaintances, really. Again, I feel like I'm a freaking like psychologist here or something. But anyway, let's move on. Other analyst types are a natural fit for people like us who share their passion for new ideas, riddles, and solutions. People within our personality types are knowledgeable and intelligent and have a great deal of respect for those who can keep them on their toes in this regard. They will gladly help to tackle any dilemma thrown their way, offering up sound advice and rational solutions. As valuable as these qualities are, though, they are not always the best approach. When it comes to emotional support, which again, I talked about, that's our weakness, or advice in dealing with matters of the heart, we're at a loss. Because we're all about our head. And if you're a guy, I'm talking about the head in your brain, in your skull. That head. uh, Adult humor, it's the greatest. Not really. But anyway, where was I? Totally derailed myself with that comment. Either way, the point is, we're thinkers. It's not, we're not necessarily the type of, follow your heart and your dreams will come true. I mean, it's like I don't want to say we're against that, but it's, honestly, it just doesn't cross our mind. So, I mean, if you ask our type for, like, should I listen to my heart? I would literally have to, like, I'd analyze the possibilities in all directions, and I'd probably say something along the lines of, like, have you done that in the past? If it's worked out in the past, then probably it would be a good idea to do it again. I'm not going to be like, oh, I had a situation like that too. Here's what I did. Like, I don't work that way. It doesn't work that way for us. So it's not that our personalities, or the people with my personalities, don't feel. Quite the contrary, they actually have very strong sentiments. But feeling is one of our least developed traits. I was talking about this before. Making our emotional reactions strong untrustworthy, and naturally in need of being tempered by their well trained logic and rationalism. Still waters run deep. You might have heard that saying before. Um, so let me explain this. We do feel. It's not like, oh, we're serial killers because that's the only people that don't feel. It's not like that. We do feel, but since they are less developed, they are weaker. Um, so when we do actually feel, when it's something significant, then it's a, like, boom, it's a strong reaction. Now I'll give you a personal reaction because this is all about getting to know me. Um, you might remember when I did my video before, where I can't remember what I called it, but I had to take a leave from YouTube to um, you know deal with the passing of my grandfather. And it was a tough time. And for the most part, like, kind of like most guys, I don't really show a lot of emotion. I mean, there's my rage and my anger, but half of that is extra oomph. It's not all legitimate. But with that situation, I surprised myself when when it happened. Like, like, teared up isn't even the word to way to phrase it. It was like waterfalls coming out of my eyes. And you could say that with anyone, any family member that dies. So I'll give you another example. I mean, you probably saw my Iwata video when he passed away. I had bashed the guy. I never wanted him to die, but even then, you saw a side of me you never saw before. I was unable to speak properly in that video. I was so upset. I never even met Iwata. We knew who he was, but I had never met him. And yet I was so choked up, so crying, pools of water out of my eyes, just unable to speak properly. So again, with people like my personality, we do feel, we do have feelings. Everyone does, unless you're a serial killer or something. But the point is, with us, it's a lot. It's not like, it's like not like average feelings where it's like, and I hate to say this as like it's gonna sound sexist, but like the whole like girls are more emotionally thing, or emotional centered or whatever. For us, and I don't mean as guys, I mean as with this personality, we have feelings, but it's just that they don't come out often because they are not. We don't prioritize feelings as important as an intellectual conversation, theorizing, figuring stuff out, problem solving, that type of stuff. Feelings just fall way down the chart of like, ugh, whatever. It's there, but I don't really care. Um, but then when that feeling does get triggered, and it does usually take a dramatic thing to bring it out, then it's a, like I said, it's a pow, it's a boom, a strong reaction. So I don't want to dally any longer. Let's just finish this last little bit up, and we'll end this video of part two. But when in friendship, continue firm and constant. While they may not be able to help directly with these sorts of problems, people with my personality help indirectly with unambiguous and reliable friendships. So basically, I might not be the best at telling you, like, what you should do, what you should follow your heart, that type of thing. I am actually a really good listener. So I've had friends who've had problems. I'm not going to share these stories because they're, personal stories from them. But I will just say, I've had a few friends who's had issues. They've talked to me about stuff, and, they feel better just having me listen, you know? So it's not that we can't help you completely. We can be reliable, good friends who, um, we can be a good listener. And if you are looking for, a solution, not just for someone to just listen, but a solution, we are great at that. But when it comes to the emotional thing, you know, we can't help you there. And sometimes, it might sound harsh, but I feel like when it comes to emotions, that's almost like you have to fight your own demon. You have to deal with that internally with yourself. Um, that could depend differently on different people. Some girls will they have their group of girlfriends that they'll all cry together or whatever they do. But ultimately, you are the one that has to overcome your own emotions and, keep them in check. Keep yourself balanced. So, yeah. Again, I feel like I'm a psychologist or something, but whatever. So let's continue here. People with my mindset, my personality, friends need never worry about power games or emotional baggage. So it's like between friends, it's never a power struggle. It's never, like I don't even know how you'd explain a power game between friends. It's not like it's not like you try and overtake the other, that you're more important than them, they're more important than you. It's like we're friends. We both like this. We like talking about this. There's no point in doing a power struggle that doesn't benefit anything. That's not logical. And emotional baggage, again, is because emotional stuff is just so far down the totem pole that it's irrelevant to us. Although if you have some kind of emotional baggage where it's like, well, I mean, this would be more for a relationship than like a friend, but where it's just like, uh, I don't know, uh, you, what's a good example? I don't know. You had a mental breakdown. You tried to stab your boyfriend or something. That's some baggage that would need to be addressed. But just generic, general emotional baggage, everyone has that. But for my kind of people, we just yeah, we don't really care that much. It's like, yeah, you got baggage. I'm sure I got baggage too, but it's irrelevant. It really is. Because if you see, the more things that you see as a negative, which I've already said, I've always, I like negativity. I thrive off it. But again, I'm a special case here. I'm a unique one. Um, you see, I feel like the more things that you label as a negative, that's another thing that can cause conflict and problems. So the more, if you choose, if you have the mental state to just choose, like, I don't care about that, it doesn't bother me, then you're literally, oops, I hit my headset there. You're literally reducing the chances of there ever being a problem. And that's a good thing. Now, I'm not going to say if you care about something, then don't say I don't care about it, just, to say it, because then you're lying to yourself and to whoever you're talking to. If you literally make the commitment, and if you think about it, and if you're capable of it, if you're capable of reorganizing what you feel you should care about or what you don't care about, that's a powerful tool. That really is. But let's wrap this part up here. So these friends are liked for their minds and abilities, not their status or possessions. That's a key thing. That is a major, major key thing. So, have you ever had a friend, or who you thought was a friend, but you find out they were only your friend because, like, oh, you had an N64, so they came over so they could play games, or, because their parents wouldn't buy them the system, or something like that, or, like a kid at your school his family's rich, so you want to be his friend so you can, be like, ha, I'm friends with the rich kid. We don't care about your status. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. Hell, I watched the show Gotham. I'm a huge fan. I know it's a TV show, it's fake, whatever. I'm a huge fan of Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. She's just a street kid. I don't care if you're as rich as Bruce Wayne or dirt fucking poor and you have to steal, as a freaking street kid like Selena Kyle. Doesn't matter to me. It's not my purpose. I was not born to judge you on your status. This isn't real life is not Facebook where I'm like, oh, I'll give you a like for that. It doesn't work that way. And then possessions, same thing. I mean, I'm not going to like you because you have, you could be like, hey, I bought a Wii U. Do you like me? It's like, I mean, good for you. You bought a good game console. It might go the other way. And again, I might get a little backsass for this. But if it's like I bought an Xbox One, I'll probably insult you a bit. I'll probably be like, oh, why would you waste your money on that shit? But ultimately, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to not be your friend because of it. It's like, I mean, it's your life. If you want to buy possessions, go for it. It's not my job to be like, well, let's see, he owns this and this and this. And yeah, okay, I think I could make time to hang out with him. That's not a friend if you're just hanging out because they have something. That's using someone. So yeah, back to the like people like us are liked for their minds and abilities. Very simple. It's back to that intellectual thing, intellectual conversations and just intelligence in general and knowledge. Because, I mean, isn't there like a saying where, what is it, knowledge is power or knowledge is sexy or something like that? I don't know. That's more of the relationship side, not friends. Because if your friend is like, oh, your knowledge is sexy, that's probably a friend that wants to be something more than a friend. Hopefully of the opposite sex. Um, Anyway, last little bit here. While it may not be easy to establish true friendships with people of my personality, once the link is made, they will provide years of understanding and thought-stimulating ideas, making them well worth the effort. So it's like, what's a good metaphor here? What's something you have to really work for, and then you feel good when you do it, I guess. I mean, you could even say graduating high school. That's 12 years of your life. You made it. Congrats. That's something good, you know? So, um, yeah, again, and not a lot of things in life are easy that are actually, worth it in the end. Things that you're just like, well, that was easy. I mean, you could have lived without doing it then. Like, uh, what's a choice? You could be at a bar and be like, oh, one more drink. Oh, it's nothing. That's easy. I could just take one more drink. Is it worth it? No, not really. You're just gonna end up risking, being even more wasted, and if you want to be stupider and drive drunk or something. My point is, not a lot of things are easy and worth it. So, if you come across someone who has any of these, and we're not done yet, this is only part two. There will be a part three, which I'll do parenting or parenthood, which really doesn't apply to me at all, but I'll do it anyway. Career paths, and then I'll do a part four, work habits and conclusion. But yeah, so what was my overall point again? I kind of derailed myself again. um, I can't remember. Oh well, I was saying something along the lines of like, if you have seen someone who has these types of characteristics, they're probably a logical person or logician, whatever. But remember, very minority is our group. We are 3% of the fucking world's population. We are fucking rare. We are unique and logical, and you might not be. But if you want to be friends with us, this type of thing will get you an edge into figuring out how you could be friends with us, if it's possible to be friends with us. But that's where we're going to end this video. And again, though, I want to just say, don't do it because of our status or possessions. You could have, like, there could be people like me with my personality who are, as rich as Bill Gates. There could be someone who's, just barely making it by in the world, so forth, so on. Do not be friends or try to be, quote, friends because of that. That's just stupid. But anyway, I'm ending the video of part two. I hope you're enjoying this little educational OBA thing. So we'll see you in part three. Stay tuned for that.